Welcome to the South Ops Fire Weather Webcast for Wednesday, September 3rd. I'm your host, Kristen Stewart. What a difference a day makes. If you recall yesterday at this time, there was very widespread thunderstorm activity across the region with significant dry lightning concerns. This morning, there is no thunderstorm activity and just a few areas of mid-level clouds over the deserts. Luckily, we are not expecting a repeat of yesterday, and instead, we should see a more traditional monsoon event with thunderstorm activity developing across the higher terrain this afternoon with increased daytime heating. We had many new fire starts from the lightning yesterday, and you can see continued active burning conditions from them, as well as the Garnet Fire, with significant areas of smoke seen from the satellite imagery. Let's do a quick little recap of yesterday's wild lightning event, shall we? It is safe to say it was quite electrifying, as you can see from the 24-hour lightning map, with well over 8,000 strikes. Most of the activity across the Southern California mountains and deserts and across the High Sierra were wetter and did not cause any significant issues overall. The line of activity extending across the Central Valley all the way down south to Santa Barbara County was much more problematic, as it moved very quickly and very little precipitation was observed. This caused a significant amount of initial attack and a few large fires developed, but it could have been a lot worse if the axis was shifted farther west over the high terrain of the interior Central Coast. Luckily today we will not see such active conditions. Yesterday we saw a lot of our monsoon activity driven by a weak disturbance moving northward through the state from northern Mexico, especially through the morning. Today will be more of a traditional monsoon pattern, with daytime heating driving the instability and convection over the usual mountain and desert areas, mostly east of Ventura County, including the High Sierra. These storms should be wetter and slower moving than they were yesterday, leading to a reduced risk of significant lightning fire potential. The areas that are expected to get thunderstorm activity today have had a lot of moisture lately anyway, keeping that risk on the lower side. However, as we typically say, additional new lightning ignitions are certainly possible with the continued activity, though the increased moisture should mitigate short-term growth potential of any new starts. Similar activity is likely again on Thursday and potentially Friday as well, before the large-scale flow pattern aloft shifts to a drier southwesterly flow and kicks out the moisture and instability to our east by the weekend. With the decreasing moisture and instability, thunderstorm coverage may become less scattered and lightning production less active as we get later in the week. As the overall moisture content begins to decrease, storms may become drier, especially by the time we get to Friday. Dry lightning strikes may become more of a factor again, but with lesser activity and recent moisture, short-term growth potential of any new starts should continue to be mitigated. Aside from the thunderstorm activity, conditions today will remain on the warm side, with temperatures continuing to range around 5 degrees above seasonal normal. Most valley areas will rise into the mid-90s to near 100 degrees. A steady cooling trend is expected through the weekend as high pressure over the western U.S. weakens as a Pacific trough approaches the coast. Current projections indicate valley highs falling to just below seasonal normals into the low 90s by Sunday. There is some uncertainty in the overall pattern going into early next week, with a battle between this Pacific trough and a ridge trying to rebuild from the south. The trough will likely win out by the middle of next week, with a good chance of cooler than normal temperatures continuing. Humidity trends will likely remain persistent through the period, with minimums largely in the 15 to 30% range away from the coastline, and overnight recoveries will be moderate to good in most areas, though areas with wetter thunderstorms will likely see higher humidities. The marine layer will likely remain fairly shallow, with limited night through morning low clouds through early next week, before likely deepening once the trough winds out. No significant winds are expected through the period, with typical afternoon and evening westerly breeziness across the wind-prone mountains and deserts, although strong and erratic winds can be expected in and near any thunderstorms the next couple days. There will likely continue to be increased initial attack activity the next couple days due to potential lightning ignitions as monsoonal thunderstorm activity continues. However, any lightning ignitions will likely have lesser and slower growth potential than earlier this week, since storm activity will be mostly wet and slower moving, and the air mass will remain fairly humid. Outside of this activity for the next couple days, conditions look calm and generally seasonable from late this week or this weekend into next week, with no significant heat, winds, or storm activity expected. The risk for new significant fires should be relatively low as a result, but conditions could still allow for continued active burning on existing fires, especially in mid-elevation foothill and mountain areas. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Our next webcast will be on Thursday, September 4th. Have a fantastic day.